We're here at Spears Point Park today. We're going to use reflectors to light our subject. We've got a model, Sophie, who's going to be with us in a little while. We're going to use reflectors in various different ways. A reflector is a great tool if you're a natural light photographer. If you love using natural light or available light, a reflector can be the best friend you've got. So we're assuming today that we haven't got any flash, we haven't got any auxiliary lighting. We're simply using the natural light that's here and supplementing it with the reflector. So have a look at the things we do and you'll see the results that we can get, and you can do the same thing. Okay, so the first situation we're in here, I want to show you how not to use a reflector. I very rarely use reflectors in the sunlight. The reason is that they're just too bright. If I want to light up Sophie here with this silver reflector, you can see the reaction on her face and you'll see the shot that I get. We're not going to do it for too long because we don't want to damage her eyes, but either silver or a white reflector, I'll show you both of these, and this is the reason why I don't like using them in the sunshine. Okay, Steve, that's it. Just close your eyes, Sophie. All right, okay. Open them up again, yeah, that's it, good. Yeah, just tilt that head a little bit to the side. Yep. That's it, yeah. Okay, that'll do. You can see how Sophie's really struggling to keep her eyes open because that light's so bright. We're going to use a white reflector now and show you the results. It's going to be very similar. Okay, so we've got the white reflector now on Sophie. It's still a little bit bright on her, not quite as bright as the silver, but we'll do a couple of shots and I'll show you. Okay, here we go, Sophie. Open those eyes, yeah? That's it. Good. Lovely. Okay, good. That's great. Now, we're going to switch to the gold side of the reflector, which is something that I never use. I'm not a big fan of gold reflectors at all, simply because they throw too much colour into the shadow parts of the image, and it looks like it's two different colours in the image. Very, very rare situations, a gold reflector I would use, but really I don't use gold reflectors very much at all. So we'll show you what the difference is here. Okay, same thing. That's it. Yep. Okay, here we go, yeah. Okay, good. Think of something happy. Imagine you're not being blinded. Keep that, yeah, that's it. Okay, all right, that's good. You can see how Sophie's face looks very yellow in that shot. I could correct it with my white balance, but then the background's going to go off, so I'd much rather use the natural colour of the light so I don't have any white balance issues or any colour issues. Okay, so now we've moved Sophie into the shade, which is a much better prospect for doing natural light. What I've got here is a large soft light source. I always shoot against the sun when I'm shooting in available light, so the sun's over behind Sophie. It's not going to cause a problem having any bright highlights on her. So she's facing towards the opposite part of the sky where the sun is. Now I need to look where that large light source is coming from, and in this situation it's coming from mostly above us. So it means that that light's going to be coming down fairly steeply onto Sophie's face, so her eyes are going to be reasonably dark. So this is another situation that I don't particularly like to use in available light or in natural light. I'll show you some better situations in a minute, but I'll take a couple of shots here so you can see. Okay, Sophie, yep, that's good. Just looking straight at me. Great. That's it. Maybe turn your face out that way for me. Yep, eyes to me still. Yeah, that's it. Great. Maybe get in and rest your shoulder against that tree, if that's okay, yeah? Okay, that's good. Okay, terrific. All right, now we're going to move Sophie further back under the shade of a tree so that most of that light from above is blocked. This is why we call open shade, so that that soft light from that sky is dropped down. It's going to come in at a lower angle rather than up high, and it's going to light Sophie's eyes a little bit better. Now we've moved Sophie into the shade of a tree, a situation that we call open shade, where the canopy of the tree is blocking a lot of the light from above, but we've got some low soft light coming in to light her eyes a little bit better. So we're going to shoot her here and see the results that we get compared to what we did previously. Okay, that's great, Sophie. Just looking at me, yeah. Lovely. Okay, maybe play with your hair with one hand, yeah. That's it, here we go. Looking at me, yeah. Okay, just do a wide shot. Okay. Lovely. That's good. Now you can see how Sophie's eyes are much more visible in that shot because the light's coming on her face at a lower angle. Now we're going to get our reflectors out. We're going to play around with our reflectors and show you the correct way to use reflectors in the shade. Okay, so we're using a reflector now to light Sophie. We've got that sun coming in behind her. And as you can see, Steve's got this reflector down to bounce light back up into Sophie's face, which is totally the wrong way to do it. Now, when we're using reflectors, there are two distinguishing reasons to use a reflector. The first one is when we use it for a main light. And if we're using it as a main light, as we are here, we need to have that light coming down onto Sophie's face because your brain expects that light to come down. We don't want it to come up because it's going to look a bit gruesome and a bit unusual on her face. But most photographers hold that reflector down low because it's easier, it's simpler, it's easier to see the light, but we're going to get uplight on Sophie's face and it's not going to look as good. So if we're using the reflector as a main light, we would hold it up high. It's a bit more difficult to do, so your assistant has to work a little bit harder. And we're going to bounce that light down onto Sophie's face. Now the other way to use a reflector is to use it as a fill light. If we're using it as a fill light, then it's just supplementing the shadows. It's just lifting the shadows a little bit. In that case, we would have the reflector on the opposite side to where the main light's coming from. So having it down low, up onto Sophie's face would be fine because all we're doing is supplementing those shadows, filling them in a little bit. The main light is still coming down from the sky onto her face. Okay? So we're going to take a couple of shots like this with the uplight and you'll see what that looks like. Okay, here we go. Great. Yeah, good stuff. Maybe turn your shoulders around this way a little bit more. Yep. Turn your face back that way. Yep, and tilt over that way. Yeah, that's it. Lovely. Okay. Now we can see when we're using that sort of reflector system, we're going to get a brighter catch light in the bottom of Sophie's eye than the top. And that's when we know that light's coming from the wrong spot. All right, now this is another reflector syndrome that we have with a lot of photographers. An assistant needs to be an assistant. They need to be aware of what's going on all the time. As you can see, Steve's been told to look at his phone just to illustrate this issue. But how many photographers have you seen where their assistant's just holding a reflector anywhere and looking on their phone? They need to be aware where that light's pushing into. They need to be aware of how that light's working on the subject. So I'm going to sack Steve and I'm going to get another assistant to help me out with this next shot. We might do that. We might get Michael to hold the reflector this time.
There you go, Mick. Can you just do that again for me? Thanks, Rob. Oh.
All right, now you can see that my new assistant, Michael, is holding the reflector up high to bounce that light down onto Sophie's face. He does wear a baseball cap with his sunglasses on it, but we're going to overlook that because he knows what he's doing. Okay, just turn that face that way, sir. Eyes to me. Yeah, that's it, great. Maybe get the bag and just hold it in behind your bottom with two hands. Yep, that's it, good. Chin down for me, yeah. And a smile, yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, that's good. All right, we're going to move to a different spot now, just down here a bit further.
Hold that up one more time.
All right, we're here in this dappled shade situation. The way to handle dappled shade is simply to turn your model away from the sun, just the same as we would in the bright sunlight. So we've got that dappled sunlight on the back of her, not on the front. We've got nice soft light coming in under this canopy so that it lights her up nicely and lights up her eyes. Now we've got a reflector in here. We're going to show you a few different ways to use this reflector. First of all, we're just going to use it to bounce a bit of light back onto the shadow side of her face. We'll do a couple of shots that way. We're using the white side of the reflector. You're on the other side of Sophie? Yep. Because of the way her hair is, I've got to get her face turned that way.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Don't worry too much about the bright sunlight, just getting closer. Closer and closer, yep. Drop it down a little bit. Yep, okay, that's good. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Eyes to me, Sophie, yeah. That's it. The chin down a little bit, yeah. Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, now what we're going to use is the black reflector. we're going to use the black side of the reflector to darken one side of Sophie's face, to give it a little bit more of a shape, to throw one side into a little bit of shade, just so that it makes our light look a little bit more natural and less flat. So I'm going to do a shot without the black reflector there first, and then we're going to get Michael to come in close with that black reflector just to show you that shade side of her face. That'll be right. Okay, here we go, Soph. Just turn your face a little bit, yeah? Okay. Now eyes to me, yeah? That's great. Okay, moving in close, Michael. I'm just doing a headshot so you can get in fairly close. Yep, that's it. Around this way, loop. Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. Here we go. Great. Yeah. Yeah. Chin down a little bit more. Yeah. Great. So you can see the difference between those two shots. Just throws one side a little bit into shadow, just to give a little bit more modelling on her face and look a little bit more interesting lighting. Okay, another use that we can put our reflectors to is using them as a scrim. So we can actually use that bright sunlight on Sophie's face, but we're going to diffuse it by using a scrim between the sunlight and Sophie's face. So in this situation here, it's quite difficult for Sophie because she's got very bright light on her face from that sunlight. So I'll take a shot like that, and then we'll get the scrim between the sunlight and Sophie's face, and you'll see the difference it makes, a nice softer light that we can get. Okay, just looking at me, Sophie, yeah? Okay. Let's focus. Okay, that's great. Yeah, just turn your face a little bit, eyes to me. Yep. Okay, that's it. That'll do, that's good. You can see how difficult it is for Sophie looking at the sun there. So we're going to get Steve in front here. He's going to hold that light up. Yep, that's so much better. I'm going to need to reduce my aperture down because the sunlight's much darker now because we've got that scrim in place. So I was shooting at f14 for those shots. I'm going to go right down to f5.6 for these ones, so it's quite a few stops of light. Okay, Sophie, here we go. Looking straight at me, yeah? That's great. Just turn the face a little bit. Yep, here we go. Great. And that smile. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, you can see the difference that makes. I wish I had it on my face at the moment, but that scrim between the sunlight and Sophie's face just softens it down, looks so much better. Now we're going to use our reflector as a top light blocker, which means that we're going to use it to block the light from above that's coming down to darken Sophie's eyes, and we're going to allow that light to come in underneath that top light blocker to create open shade for us. We don't need a tree to do it for us, we can create it ourselves with a black reflector. So I'm going to get Steve to come in, put that reflector over the top of Sophie's head, and we're going to drop that soft light down on Sophie's face, so it's going to look so much better. Okay, Steve. That's it. That's good, Sophie. Here we go. Maybe come forward a little bit more, Steve. This towards me. Yeah, that's it. Okay, great. A chin down for me, Sophie. Yeah. Great. Turn face that way. Yeah. Good. Now smiles. Yeah. Great stuff. Okay. All right. That's good. You can see the difference that makes, just having that top light blocker in there. Now the last thing we're going to do with our reflector, and it's something that a lot of people don't realise that we can do, is we're going to put it in as a background. We're going to get Steve to hold it in behind Sophie's head so that it looks like we've got a plain background, even though we're shooting natural light outdoors in the middle of the park. Okay, Sophie, just, yep. Steve, go in a little bit more. Yep. Okay, great. Nice to meet Sophie. Good. Yep, turn that face again, that way a little bit more. Chin down, yep. Okay, here we go. Yep, one more. Okay, wonderful. All right, so you can see how versatile your reflectors can be. We've got a number of different sides we can use with our reflectors. They call them 5-in-1s, but they can be used for so many more purposes. So you've seen the situations we've used today. You've seen what we can do. I'll see you in the next lesson.